Flamethrower flow, let it hit, cause that boy a chameleon. I need a million, billion, trillion tokens to buy up a house in Vermilion. I need to kill me a couple of trainers and take all they pokey, they stash in my pocket. Jesse James like I roll with Team Rocket. Giga drain on that cloud with that hot pit. I'm in a mosh pit. Huh? What? Hey, what?
Hey, yo, I'm back. I'm black. I'm better than before. Unlike your dad, I pulled up from the stove. What's good though? What's poppin' though? What's Gucci though? What's bracket? You heard? No? Alright, anyways. Today we are back to talk about Boruto chapter 41. Yes, we on some Boruto kicks. I know yesterday we dropped a Demon Slayer video. We're gonna be having all kind of shit going on over here, but I'm gonna throw in the Boruto chapters because that's what I've been reading. I always read that shit. I'm always up to date with it. I stay on the anime now. I finally caught up in it. Obviously, I talked about it when Yoshiki versus Sasuke versus Naruto and Jiraiya was going on. So clearly you guys know I know what's going on. I just ain't been talking about it as profusely as I used to do. But you know what? We're gonna get back on it. It's 2020, you know what I'm saying? You know the vibes. We trying to stay on the vibes. We trying to stay high on the vibes and keep riding with the vibes. You heard? You heard? So in this chapter, we got some real crazy shit going on in Boruto chapter 41. We seeing some tactical sides of Sarada as well as Mitsuki. We seen the strategic play from these two, which is very dope, and it's about time because I will say for the most part of this current arc that's been happening in the Boruto manga, Boruto and Kawaki been getting nothing but spotlight. I'm talking about this is the spotlight that they deserve. I know early on in the anime and I know early on in certain parts we did see a lot of Mitsuki. We did see Mitsuki get a lot of shine, which is kind of dope to see because, you know, he is Orochimaru's son and, you know, he was like, you know, added into the group as a synthetic human and shit like that. Sarada had her little moment, you know, obviously in the anime they did the Shinden, they did like the short story between Sasuke and her, and you know, you got to see her introduction to Sasuke and shit like that. So obviously in the anime they did have their moments where, you know, they had them as the focal points, but they didn't go too much into their fighting style and their fighting abilities because most of the fighting was done either by Sasuke, Naruto, or Sakura, as well as like, you know, Boruto coming through to save Mitsuki, and then it was like the whole new generation basically pulling up to save Mitsuki. But now we're starting to see these two use their strategic play a lot more in this manga chapter, right? We see them two going ham in terms of being analytical as well as using their abilities to the best of their abilities, if that makes sense. So we got the boy Mitsuki who's essentially like grabbing the smoke from Goro, which is like this mist that's basically used out of water, and obviously it's not created as a ninjutsu, which is, you know, usually manipulated from nothing using just straight chakra, but it's water based, meaning that there's a water supply there and that the water supply is just being put out versus like, you know, somebody casting it as a ninjutsu using chakra. So it's one of those things that the karma can't absorb. And then we see Mitsuki uses one of his snakes and he uses the ability that Orochimaru gave him, you know, because Orochimaru gave him the ability to be able to be immune to so many different types of poisons. He gave him the ability to analyze as well as gather information from those poisons, and that's what Orochimaru put Sasuke through, as well as Karin, Suigetsu, and Jugo. You know, we seen him basically put them through trials and put them through stuff to have their immune system and their bodies like very like immune to fucking different types of poisons and shit like that. So we seen that same type of style of play being put into Mitsuki, and Mitsuki is using that basically to help Sarada analyze it with her Sharingan. So it's like these two kids that have these really strong connections to Orochimaru are the ones that's basically coming through and letting everybody know what's going on with this plot, you know what I'm saying? Because it's basically like Sasuke and Orochimaru on their own playing field, you know what I mean? Because it's like Sasuke is basically analyzing, you know, the mist, and then we got, you know, Orochimaru who's the one with the mist, but in this case it's Sarada and Mitsuki. So I really thought that was dope to see them two really using their abilities and their tactical side more than just using pure fighting in their pure like attack styles. Because if you know, you see Sarada, she comes through, she whip people up. It's just what she does. Sarada put the hands on people. And then we got Mitsuki, he has Sage Mode, he has all these other different abilities, he has Earth style, he has Lightning style, you know, we seen him do Wind style, so we seen him do a bunch of shit. So now it's like, all right, we finally getting this mix of like pure ability with tacticalness, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how can you not love that? That was probably one of the most important parts of this manga chapter for me, but there's something that goes beyond that. Now usually I would put manga panels up there in order to show you guys what I'm talking about as a whole, but there's a lot of like new terms of services and new copyright infringement going on, and I seen a lot of YouTubers getting striked and getting community strikes and copyright strikes and their guidelines being taken away because of using manga panels, because, you know, some creators are like getting tired of people showing that manga panels. It's not like they're showing the whole manga or anything, they're not reading the whole damn chapter, they're just like, you know, using a panel and they're talking about it, expressing how they feel about it. But now like certain people are getting upset and they're like, yo, you guys are stopping us from making money, quote unquote, but it's not necessarily that, because at that point they're just reviewing it or they're just giving information. So I was going to show this manga panel that I'm about to talk about, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of hindsight of what's been going on with that. So instead of using manga panels, we're going to use PNGs. We're going to use the Kawaki PNG, and we're going to use the Boruto PNG. So between Boruto and Kawaki, their conversations have become a lot more intricate compared to how they was first introduced, right? When they were first put together, it definitely shows that these two have some type of progression. We seen that Kawaki was able to bring out a lot of Boruto's karma and allow Boruto to use that resonance. Obviously, when Kawaki was in danger early on in the series, when we first seen Kawaki introduced, Boruto karma went into activation because they were so close in proximity around each other and that they have this type of link connection. But now in this instance, we see Kawaki forcibly bringing out the karma. Like, we seen it happen once before when Naruto allowed Kawaki and Boruto to train in the backyard, but this time we're actually seeing Kawaki force it out in order to give Boruto a power boost, bro. I'm talking about what? When I seen that, I was like, yo, this is letting us know that at some point or another, these two gonna have a combination technique that's gonna be out of this world. Now, mind you, it's still in development because Kawaki doesn't necessarily know how to do ninjutsu. He doesn't know how to use shadow clones. You know, if you see early on in the series, he talks about how he wants to have the ability to use shadow clones and talk to himself, and that way he'll never be alone. And Naruto explains to him that you'll still be lonely. It just goes to show that he doesn't know anything about like ninjutsu. He doesn't know how to use his chakra properly because his body is completely made of scientific ninja tools, and you know, he's one of those people who has the ability to change and like configure his body the way he wants, and he never really actually tried to access the chakra link that he has. And everybody has chakra, and that's something that Naruto explained to him. So maybe in the future we're gonna see some type of way different technique, but what we did get to see was a karma seal resonance Rasengan. Like, these two connected. Like, I'm seeing like Kawaki put his hand on Boruto's back and magnifying the blast, like magnifying the Rasengan. Now, honestly, that shit was all the way powerful, don't get me wrong, but obviously it would have been too easy for them to defeat Garo like that. If they would have just took Garo out with that one move, it'd have probably been like, yo, this was kind of you know what I mean? I get it, they built this character up for a bit and then they just kind of got him one-shotted by this Rasengan. And like, you know, most of the scientific ninja tool experiment androids from Nakara, they have some type of regeneration abilities, and Kawaki even expressed that he forgot about that. He forgot that Goro had the ability to regenerate his body, which is crazy all in itself. I'm like, bro, how do you forget that this man has regen ability? Like, you should know that the regeneration ability is there, because if you like, what you doing? Like, you tripping, you bugging. Like, you always need to be on game, and it's like one of those things that he slipped up. And it kind of reminds me of Cell from Dragon Ball Z. I don't know if you guys remember the Cell saga. Cell had this like core that he could regenerate himself, but if you didn't strike that core, he keeps coming back. So maybe in the current like the next chapter, we're gonna see like some type of hint indicating where his actual core is, and if you destroy the core, it'll basically stop him from being able to regenerate his whole body. One thing that was different from Garo's regeneration and Delta's was that Delta had an android attached to her back that basically is kind of like a cloud storage or a database that allowed her to switch her memories to the next body, and all she had to do was just basically eject herself from the computer motherboard. So it kind of goes to show that she's more of a self-operating PC versus like everybody else is kind of androids that are in their body themselves, versus like it's like this computer bug that's attached to the body that's controlling the body, if that makes sense. Maybe this was her original form when she grew up, or the original way that she looked, but all in all, you know, at some point or another, she discarded that original form, and then now she has multiple bodies that are basically created in the exact same image. So I don't know necessarily how she works, but it goes to show that the Kara all have different ways of regenerating their bodies, because as you guys saw, my man Goro, he just basically regenerated his body and just came back all in all, like without having to switch from body to body the way that Delta had to. This is going to make it extremely interesting for this team, this new Team 7, to be able to defeat Garo, because he has the abilities to regenerate himself right there instantaneously, versus having to leave, come back with a new body and then apprehend him. You know what I mean? Because at that point, they probably would have reached Naruto at some point or another, but right now in the manga, you know, you see him regenerating in front of them. So it's gonna be very interesting. He already has some interesting abilities. We didn't really get to see too much of his ninjutsu in that regard, and I mean, honestly, we don't really see too much ninjutsu from the card. Most of them have like this scientific ninja body or the scientific ninja tool type of body, and we see them using like stuff from that. You know, they never use anything of their own sorts regarding their chakra. It's more about chakra manipulation, if that makes sense, or using some type of gimmick. So right now his gimmick is the fact that he has this reservoir of water, and it basically creates a mist. Now I think what would have been more beneficial for them was that if, you know, they were able to destroy the reservoir, that way he couldn't create any more mist, and then that way they can go ahead and fight him heads on, because his blood has immunity, which Mitsuki was able to find out by stealing a sample of his blood, which is also was extremely smart, and then he basically distributed amongst Team 7. So now they all are immune to this toxic poison, but obviously, you know, there were other methods that they could have went about instead of head on attacking him. I mean, I guess it doesn't make really too much sense to attack the reservoir now that they have immunity. It was just kind of a instantaneous thought that I had, but overall, you know, this is going to be one of those interesting adversaries for them, because he is very strong. He's physically a monster, like, and we seen like how he put Sarda in this one weird situation where like she almost froze the fuck up. So we don't know how this is going to play out. I'm really interested to see how it's going to play out. I mean, this has been my personal thoughts and personal opinions about Boruto Manga Chapter 41. If you have your own personal thoughts and personal opinions, make sure you leave those comment section below. This video is not gonna be like the other videos with all like the weird editing and like the me talking to myself, because this is more of a informational video, me getting more things off to you guys versus like me just sitting there, you know, kind of laughing around or like talking about some crazy topic or some shit like that. So let me know your personal thoughts and personal opinions. Like I said, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And with that being said, my name is ShinoBeenTrill. Stay true and stay real, and until next time, see you guys later. Bye.